Hello, everybody. Welcome to our ResNexus webinar. I'm Vicky. I'm over here in the UK office, and I also run my own glamping site called Tractors and Cream, where we've got geodesy domes. I'm really excited to talk to you about messaging and connecting with your guests. Today we're going to kind of cover the sort of messaging that really resonates and makes your guests feel special. Okay, let me grab my screen. Sorry, I'm going to have to try and sort out my slideshow here. There we go. Okay, so in today's webinar, we're going to talk about the following topics. So, why messaging is so important, and the various messaging avenues such as emails, text, how you message with the OTAs, and we're going to touch on WhatsApp. So, we've plenty of reasons why you should use at least one form of messaging. So I want to go over the most important and discuss why different forms of messaging are better than others for various things. But let's start with the general reasons why you want to utilize messaging. So communication, establishing a form of communication between you and the guest is really important for many reasons, such as providing them with a way to contact you, opening a line of communication. But the most important reason may not be one that's obvious up front. That first communication is a bit like a handshake, and it drastically reduces the occurrence of negativity, such as chargebacks or cancellations or bad reviews. Outside of opening a line of communication, you also want to provide pertinent information to your guests, specific directions on how to find you, your rules and your policies, important events that happen nearby, all things you can do on your property or have access to. These last two straddle the line between information and augmentation. So you want to make your guests aware of things around your property or things to do on the property for multiple reasons. It can augment their stay and they would have a better time. It also is a way to compete with the OTAs because they can't necessarily they sell you on the accommodation, but not necessarily all the extra fun things that you can do at your property. So really, it's great for upsells. And as you establish communication, you establish that connect, the kind of handshake, you provide information to them and offer ways they can augment their stay. And you'll find you'll be improving your business at the same time. So, lastly, your final contact should always request some form of consideration from the customer or a review, whether that's asking it for your own benefit so you can continue to improve, or for a Google review, or to spread the word. You want to make sure you're asking your customers' consideration of their stay. That not only helps you get reviews, but it causes the guests to look back and reflect on the stay, which in turn makes it memorable for them in the long run. So let's talk about the impact of email marketing in the travel sector in 2026. On average, the email open rate is between 20 and 30%. Um, so while the average click rate through rate is about 0.77%, anything above 1% is amazing. Um, the unsubscribe rate is near 0%, which makes sense because maybe the guest doesn't like the current offering or timing, but they still want to hear from you in the future. Even if the open rate is very low and the response rate is much lower, that's still bringing in additional business that you wouldn't otherwise have had. And you can improve the response rate by providing value in the form of special offers and promotions at strategic times like birthdays, anniversaries, and holidays. Another reason you want to improve your messaging is that while the OTAs are great at getting you new guests, they're not great at getting the same guest again because most guests use OTAs to explore a new area they haven't been to before. So this really matters because once your guest has booked and stayed with you, the way to increase your return guest rate is to email market them directly in the future. I recommend collecting their birthday and anniversary date and then email marketing them on those dates with another important occasions. At the end of the day, it's really important that your business owns the guest information, not the OTA. Obviously, we know by now that OTAs will not give you guest email addresses, but it's still super important that you collect it. Once a guest is booked, you can legitimately ask for their email address. I know lots of people are worried about this. And then you can input it straight into your booking summary in ResNexus. You've paid the OTA for the guest once, and then you want to make sure that guest comes back and books direct in the future, which is the best way to use the OTAs to your advantage. If you're worried about messaging through the OTA app, they do normally give you their phone number, so you can send them a WhatsApp or give them a call, introduce yourself, and start to build the relationship. If you're still worried about getting their email, another tactic is to put your Wi-Fi behind a login. So when they check in and they want the Wi-Fi password, they have to put their email address in before they can access it. So now let's get down to effective email communication in more detail. So we've got several options of ways to use emails in ResNexus. Confirmation, welcome, thank yous, promotions, birthday anniversary, auto notifications like cart abandonment, custom emails, and we're going to go through and talk about each one. So if we start with confirmation emails, the first contact with the guests online is that confirmation email. A confirmation of stay, which lets people have a reference that one, it's reserved for them, that the sale occurred, and two, a way to reference the stay with the confirmation number to make it easier if they need to call you about their stay. Then it's the details of the purchase. So it's a great way to confirm that they select the appropriate dates and unit. Then you've got additional items like guest portal. So we've got the contactless check-in, and while it's not essential, we've got the option to provide that link to a guest portal in which guests can review their stay, make payments, they can check in if you want them to check in. This also has options for augmenting your guest stay, doing those upsells by offering them retail items. They can go in and add to their stay directly from the portal. It's also digital guest signature collection. So while the guests are required to agree to the policies of your property upon making a reservation online, when they book over the phone, you probably don't want to go through and read out the entire policy and ask if they agree to them over the phone. So you can put a link in with the confirmation email and notify them on the phone that they need to review the policies in the email and sign them using the link provided. And these can all be refined for specific units. So policies, when they book online, they've already agreed to your policies, but you want to have your policies in front of them as much as possible. So I know, like with me, I quite often will just tick the policies. Yes, I've agreed to the policies. Um, but you want to make sure that they really understand the rules. Like this is even things like what your quiet time is, when your check-in and check-out time is, just to make it really clear for the guests. And it just shows that you're doing everything you can to make sure they're aware of the rules, even if they don't read it. The act of trying on your part does go a long way. So we talked about confirmation emails. So now let's go on to welcome emails. So they go out before a guest stay. So the emails are really important to make sure the guest has the appropriate information they need for their stay. It also acts as a reminder of not only the important information, but also that they have a stay reserved, which can help to cut down on your no call or no shows. It also serves as a way to get them excited for their stay with you as well. So here are the important pieces of information you should make sure that are in your welcome emails. Directions to your property with a link that takes them to a map service that you know is accurate, such as Google. Even map services can get addresses and directions wrong. So this is a good way to make sure you've got a link in there that takes the guest to accurate directions. And if you can't get accurate directions, then write your own and make sure people know where they're going. Um, So we've communicated, we've informed, but here we can upsell. So put reminders for things to do or packages that you offer. Even though they didn't add the massage package earlier because it was too much money when they were booking their stay, they've had time and distance from the previous purchase, and they'll be more likely to review new offers at this time. Special instructions. So if you've got specific instructions on which room is theirs, how to get to it, or special rules they need to follow for that room specifically, you can utilize the special instructions function. So that function is in each unit. on their information page and you can just write your special instructions. Then when you've got an email, pull over the special instructions tag, and that pulls over their data into those emails that are relevant to that unit. If you do lock codes for door locks, it's the same, similar, works in a similar way to special instructions. You've got a couple of different options. You can type in the codes, or we can offer a dynamic code system with Wi-Fi locks that when you update your lock codes for each guest, wiping out old codes so previous guests can't access the room with an old code. And then again and again, again, policies. We want to remind people of these policies any chance that we have. So putting them under the title of things to know before your stay often encourages guests to read rather than labeling them policies that they tend to skip. So we want them to go out automatically, how many days before they stay. So you get one on Essentials and unlimited on Premiere. So one is good for to perform basic functions, but there are plenty of reasons why you might want to use multiple. So 7 or 14 days out, or whatever your policy is, you want to send one for final billing and telling them the cancellation policy. So sending one when collecting the final billing can be helpful to prevent chargebacks because if they forgot they still owe you money. And it reminds them of the cancellation policy. So if they do cancel, they've got a fresh reference rather than 6 months ago, whether they've already forgotten. This might be too far out for specific things like lock codes, for example. So then 3 days out, you're going to want to do property info and upsells or things to do. So they're getting excited to stay. And then this is a good email to remind them of what they have access to. Then the 0 days out, the day of arrival, you'd want to send lock codes and special instructions. Sending these out last minute can be very helpful as people have really short memories. Um, you'll want to make sure they have the most important information the day before or even the day of. It just depends on, sometimes we would recommend a text message on the day because they may be traveling and not be checking their email. And these can be refined to specific units as well. So each unit can have a specific email that goes out, which obviously isn't an option for Essentials, but in the Premiere you can create multiple different emails for each unit. But you can always use that special instructions tag to differentiate a small portion of that email if you need to. So then we're on to thank you emails. So you'd automatically send out however many days after their stay ends, often like between 1 and 3 days. Sending it immediately can be helpful if you're checking them out and you remind them of the fact that you sent an email. Otherwise, sending the day of checkout, they're too concerned with getting out and leaving and they're traveling to pay much attention to it. And they might be stressed getting their family out the door. So waiting a day or two for them to get back home and settled allows them to have the chance to reflect on their stay outside of the hustle and bustle. Um, and they're probably more likely to respond. So this is the kind of consideration step we mentioned earlier. We want to follow up with the guest. So again, you get one thank you email on Essentials, unlimited on Premiere. So multiple thank you emails aren't as important as multiple welcome emails, but sending out an email even 6 months to a year after their stay, inviting them back is an option, especially if you aren't collecting anniversary and birthday dates. Because then you can kind of send a promotional email out to them 6 months afterwards. Say, oh, it's been 6 months since you stayed. Do you want to come and stay again? I think that's quite useful. And then obviously it's used to thank your guests and to request reviews. So we really want to attempt to capture their thoughts so that you can improve, but also direct them towards leaving you a good review. This function you can see here, this will promote good reviews and mitigates bad reviews as it will capture the review regardless, but will only direct those who leave a very satisfied review to post it onto Google or TripAdvisor. So we also want to be able to direct them back for another stay. If they like the stay and they're on a high from their trip, now's a great time to capture that next sale. So you can offer them a discount if they book with a code. So one of the ways to try and capture that sale is to offer a discount code only to the people who've stayed with you via that thank you email, which encourages immediate bookings as they can only do it with the code. You can put a kind of time limit on the code. Um, that always tends to work for me. And it can be refined to specific units again. So that is it for thank you emails. We're going to go on to some promotional email ideas now. So they're really good for a one-time email blast to either your whole guest list or a fine portion. So some great uses are newsletters once a quarter to keep apprised of changes. Um, then you want to tell them about new things that are going on your property, making them feel involved in the community, encourage them to come back and to participate. Um, Make people aware of the promotions that you're running. And you can send it to specific groups using the interest group function to remind like people who go to conferences that the conference is coming up again, you'd love them to stay with you. Or if you've got other seasonal events, capture the guest info into interest groups for those that attended those events and market them specifically. One other good promotional strategy, which I am yet to use, but I would like to, is to look at your big spender list. So you start by going to the big spenders report found in the ResNexus back office. Then you could look at your top 500. And then I would send an email to them with a promo code to these great clients, or you can use the gift certificates to send them a gift voucher, just to appreciate the fact that you're celebrating their loyalty. And yeah, you can set it up with a promo code. So birthday and anniversary emails really similar to the welcome and thank you emails, but the condition is set on their entered anniversary or birthday dates. So you can send out a reminder a month before their birthday or on their actual birthday, um, to try and kind of capture their travel plans. If you're seasonal, I tend to do it on their birthday to give them a 10% voucher they can use whenever. If you're open all year round, then you might want to do it 2 or 3 months before their birthday just to try and see if they want to come and stay on their actual birthday. Um, that can kind of help them choose you over another destination, but don't wait too long for it, or they might already have plans. Then we've got some auto notifications, which are a special form of automated email. So based on certain conditions outside of what we've discussed already. So cart abandonment is a great email to send to attempt to improve your conversion rates. So if the would-be guest got as far as entering their email but didn't complete, so didn't do that final step of paying, have this send as an automation to help you capture the sale. You can also set up a second one that goes out after a couple of days as well to offer a discount or encourage them to come back. So I've got one that goes out 15 minutes after they don't check out, and then another one 3 days after, to say like, here, have some free Prosecco when you book, or you could do a voucher code or whatever it is you want to do. Um, You can also have a auto notification after a no-show. So as long as you're marking the reservations as no-shows, this will go out to notify them of the missed reservation, which can help reduce those credit card chargebacks, as the biggest case for chargebacks has to do with unrecognized charges. You can have one that goes out after check-in, so a simple message about information that they might need to know during their stay, particularly if you don't have a front desk to provide them with that upon arrival. Can also remind them of breakfast in the morning or nightly events. Then you might want to send one before checkout. So good to remind people a few hours before they need to check out what's expected of them. They've just been on holiday, so they're not always thinking about the rules that they read a while back. You could do the second or third day of stay. So helpfully if you just want to check in on them and make sure everything's up to standard, so you can fix any issues before they reach the review on Google. And again, you can refine these to specific units. And then lastly, we've got custom emails. So you can do a lot with these. You can make custom emails in the customized email section under advanced. So these allow you to create confirmation emails, receipt emails, for you to access and print out, manually send, or in the case of confirmation emails like auto send, depending on the site someone's booked. So some of the more interesting ways you can use these are for quotes. So you can modify your confirmation email to send a quote, so it makes it obvious a reservation isn't reserved for them, but they can still review the dates and get back to you. You can do liability waivers, so you can either manually send these if you don't include it in your policies, which would auto send, or you can print them out for the guests to sign upon arrival. Registration cards. So this can be used to collect further information on the guest, such as a driver's license or passport if you need it. If they want meals, confirm their room number if you've not previously given it, having them sign your policies. Then parking permits, whether you supply parking or require the purchase of a permit, you can use the custom emails to generate them and then print a permit they can keep on their dashboard. Um, you can do request payment. So while you can include the payment link in any email, having a separate email that you manually send that sends the guest the portal link can be helpful, as you can send them directly to the payments page. So there's now a tag in within the emails that will just send them to the payment page of the contactless check-in and not the front page of the contactless check-in. And then things like natural disasters. So we've got a property that gets smoke from fires or one that's experienced regular hurricanes, and this can help them notify their guests. Um, you can also use promotional emails for this, and I'm sure there are some others that I haven't gone over. So when you're making an email, we use a template builder, or an HTML builder. Most find the template builder is far easier to use. 4 times more people use Google Email than Outlook. The builder works really well with Google, but Outlook is not great. Like, it's not updated. And Microsoft, we've spoken to Microsoft about it. They've admitted it's not up to date and they won't say when or if it will be fixed. So if you're finding a lot of your user base are using Outlook and the emails aren't looking good for them, then we can help you with the HTML if you need help with that. So we're just going to talk about WhatsApp, which I'm really excited about. Obviously, nearly half the world uses WhatsApp, and the integration for this is currently being built, and we will have more details on it soon. But what we do have is that it's going to be similar to the US texting plan. So at the moment, the US are able to auto text their guests like automated emails, and we're now building a version for WhatsApp, so we'll be able to automate WhatsApp messages to be a paid for business version of WhatsApp. And we'll set you up with a Twilio account. There is, however, a free version that should be integrated shortly that will allow you to put your personal WhatsApp on your booking engine for guests to contact you via WhatsApp, which will give you and the Twilio and everything will give you a separate business mobile number as well. So I hopefully will be beta testing this for you so we can make sure that it doesn't have any bugs to it and make sure everything's working okay. But I think this will be a great feature once we can get WhatsApp. So with that in mind, we're going to talk about kind of what we can WhatsApp and text people. When it comes to the automated stuff, that would be great. And we'll do another webinar introducing how WhatsApp's going to work. But for now, we know we've got the guest's mobile number normally. We can use these messaging apps to enhance the guest experience. Um, so there are 4 stages of the guest journey. They're pre-booking, post-booking, mid-stay, and post-stay. So I'm going to give you some tactics that you can use to help your guests have the best experience and feel special during each step of the process. So if we think about the guest journey, when someone's planning a holiday, they follow this path typically. They'll often search based on the place that they want to go or by activities or things to do in the local area. Usually the top results on Google are the OTAs like Expedia, TripAdvisor, Airbnb. Then they'll kind of come back to their narrowed down choices on the direct website. And conversion can happen many ways. But at this point, they might choose to reach out to the property via text and ask some last minute questions before they complete their booking. So if a guest has a question during the booking process, it might be like, do you have a disabled room? Are there EV charging points? Or some little detail that might be critical to them booking the reservation. If you allow them to text or WhatsApp you, like we can see at this resort, they get an answer and complete the booking right there and then. So messaging can help you with those last minute bookings. This is particularly helpful for campsites or properties that allow last minute bookings. It's an easy and convenient way to capture those guests. And there are even AI chatbots at this stage if you want to use them. So like this example shows there's no RV sites, but they have got another room. Let's convert them to that room. And that way you don't lose that booking. So one of the best ways to keep guests engaged is by using automated messaging during the post-booking phase, especially within the 10 to 14 day time period before the arrival date. So you can confirm the purchase with their reservation details like we can see here. This sample personalizes the message with the guest name. But what takes this message to the next level is that they also mention their lakeside lounge and things to do. Next, you want to keep them interested by sending another message maybe a week before about something they might be interested in, like a local attraction. In this example, it's a famous swinging bridge. Then you can also provide a link which builds the excitement. They can go and have a look and makes the trip seem more real. And it helps you to be like hyper local, which will definitely show up in your reviews. Um, and to reduce high cancellation risk, you offer added value with a discount, a free retail item, or complimentary service. So again, you can personalize your offer in the message by using the guest name and show the picture of the offer. So in this example, property invites the guest to get a free drink at the Lakeside Lounge with a beautiful view, and shows the menu. So now we're kind of upselling the experience. Then the next, maybe the day of, make sure to address a need. So it could be as simple as collecting a deposit, so they can go straight to their dome, as you see in this example, or providing map directions. But generally, like keep it really simple. By doing one or two of these touch points, you can help remove doubts and stand out and reaffirm these guests made the right decision booking with a fantastic first impression even before they arrive. And it also kind of hits the guilt factor a bit. Like I know when my sister says she's looking forward to my call, I feel guilty if I don't call. So the same goes for post-booking texts. They help reduce your no-show rate. So now mid-stay. So I really hate it when a guest comes to check out and then complains about something that had gone wrong 2 days ago. If you give guests an easy and convenient way to communicate with those concerns, they can be addressed immediately. Some properties use text messaging to conduct a 1 to 3 question mid-stay survey or a quick opportunity for your guest to provide feedback. This is a simple example of property just reaching out to the guest to let them know if they need anything. So you can still have that high touch level service with contactless communication. So other examples of mid-stay text messages would be sharing a Wi-Fi password, which is a great way to do that because the guests are likely to want to connect to the Wi-Fi on the device that's currently in their hand reading this message, right? So others provide restaurant recommendations at this time or help offer with reservations to nearby eateries. Um, They might provide a list of activities or events that they can do during their stay. Um, you can text your guests about room service or housekeeping. You could provide a mid-stay satisfaction survey. So I always recommend doing this after I've stayed with you at least one night. So feel free to write down things and then make you more comfortable. And then um, you can do like other announcements and helpful information. So, example of property providing a map and door lock instructions if their guest needs it. Or you can increase your retail sales before your office closes. Like if you got a deadline and you've got to stock a shop that closes at 5:30 or 6 o'clock, then remind them so they can come and do that. So again, all these examples I've shown here be able to be set up automatically with WhatsApps, hopefully, that you can send to your guests, like all the guests on site. Imagine the time saving. I can't wait. Another great use of guest messaging is to quickly communicate with guests on site or who are arriving that day. So you can warn of like natural disasters, provide a voucher, um, or on the inverse, let the guests know that you're still open and that doesn't affect you. So campsites use this quite a lot for nightly events as well. So what about reviews? Well, we know they're super important. According to this year's research, guests will pay more for accommodations with better customer reviews. 24%, which is a lot more. Plus, exceptionally positive reviews are the second top value, only beaten out by typical low pricing. So that's why using text messaging for reputation or review management is one of the most powerful reasons to get the WhatsApp automated going because it allows your business to reduce the bad reviews, dramatically increase positive reviews. So you can qualify that the guests leave a good review by asking them how their stay was. And if they rate it 5 stars, ask for a review. And if it was 4 stars or less, ask them how you can improve and be more consistent. So this will all be automated with ResNext's WhatsApp messaging, and it will increase your reviews rapidly, which helps you quickly stand out from your competition. So why is texting so successful? The open rate is 98%. Plus, 90% of text messages are open within 3 seconds of being received. Yikes, that's a frightening statistic. And 68% of respondents are more likely to buy from a business that offers convenient communication, such as text messaging. But you have to be careful because while it's effective, um, text messaging is best used in tandem with birthday and anniversary emails or to upsell an existing reservation. So the bottom line with new anti-spamming text messaging rules is a fine balance. We've just got to be careful we're not using text as spam like we would have done email in the past. So another important way to increase your reviews is to keep in contact or message your OTA guests within the ResNexus system. So we can within ResNexus, you can do Airbnb, and you can also get the system to review your Airbnb guests automatically with a set message. The reason this is important because the more guests you review on Airbnb, the higher you get in the rankings, and the more likely the guests will be to review you back. So you can still leave a more custom review for those amazing guests or the troublemakers by logging into Airbnb directly. Also, at the moment, you can do Airbnb and Expedia, and soon you'll be able to do Vrbo and Booking.com. And that is everything I have for today. It was a bit of a whirlwind whiz through guest messaging. Um, as soon as I have information on WhatsApp, I will let you know. As I say, I'm really excited to get started with it. I think it could be revolutionary for us all, time saving wise. Um, so I'm happy to take any questions. So if you have any questions, you can put them into the chat. Um, and then, yeah, just put them in chat. Or if you don't want to put them in the chat, then please feel free to email me, vjones@resnexus.uk, or give me a call. I'm happy to chat about these things, especially if you're wanting to set up multiple different emails and you're not sure the best way to do it. We can sit and go through what your guest journey is going to be, pre-stay, post-stay, what kind of messaging you want to put out there. And then, as I say, yeah, if you're a UK user, don't forget we've got a WhatsApp group. So I always share that the latest information on the WhatsApp group. If you want to join that, then please let me know as well. So I am just going to check for any Q&A. Let me stop sharing my screen. And I think I don't have any questions at the moment. Um, but yeah, as I say, you're more than welcome to email me whenever you want to with any questions. And yes, I will let you get on with your lovely day. And do please feel free to get in touch with me if you need anything. And we will see you on our next webinar. Thank you then. Bye bye.